What's up, freaks? This is the fourth episode in a series about tearing a distal bicep. Complete tear of the bicep muscle. Distal, that means down here, not up by the shoulder. And it's been one of my most popular long form videos here on YouTube. So I want to give an update. This is a 10-month update of where I'm at of tearing the bicep with zero surgery and just rehabbing on my own. And I want to add, in addition to that, I haven't done any kind of testosterone or steroids or not even peptides. I got a lot of people asking me about peptides and recommending peptides, but I really wanted to see what I can do just completely on my own in a year. And I'm doing this video now even 2 months early. I was going to wait a year, but I don't think there's any point in waiting a year because it's where it's going to be pretty much. So let's do it. Let's jump into it. I have some notes here because I've been tracking along the way about the month. So we're at 10 months now, and this is the good arm. This is the not as good arm. I'm not going to say bad arm because it is not a bad arm. And that's one of the first keys in all these videos is having this positive mindset of how you're approaching things, the perspective, not letting this get you down, not letting injuries get you down. So at about probably 4.5, 5 months, I started actually doing full speed punches and actually did some light sparring. It was just with my son, so it wasn't like real strong and hard, but throwing punches and getting punched and hitting and impact and clipping weird angles, because when you're moving and sparring, you're not always hitting right, you're missing punches. So at about 5 months, I was able to hit the heavy bag with full speed punches and light sparring. And then even did some light jujitsu rolling, and then just recently went to a full speed, full rolling. I mean, we're at 10 months, so it's been able to do that for a while. Full speed, full rolling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu rolling. And especially I haven't done it in a while, and I haven't done jiu-jitsu in a while, so it was off anyway. And did it get sore? Sure. But it also got sore from people digging elbows like literally right into the bicep. So it made a little sore, a little tired, maybe fatigued, but that's just about it. And that might have just been from someone digging their freaking elbow or head or chin, because you get all kinds of weird positions in jiu-jitsu. Also, I've done full contact sparring, Muay Thai class, a Muay Thai kickboxing class. So doing full speed punches, kicks, full power with both hands, zero issue. Now there's times where, yeah, it would get tired or sore, but I see that as a good thing, that the bicep can actually get sore. So there's, if you could see, here's the one that was uninjured and here's the injured one. So this actually, you could see, is hard. It's not as hard as the other one, but I'm able to actually flex this. In the beginning, the first several months, it was like you'd hold it here and it was like a cartoon. It would just be like drooping down to the side. So there's actually muscle being built in there, and you can see tricep develop. Forearms are probably stronger than ever from the different supplemental work. Go watch video 3 of this series where I went through a lot of the wrist and forearm stuff. None of that stuff has changed. I still do it, don't do it as often. I was doing it almost every day back then, at least 5 days a week. Now I get it 2 to 3 times a week doing those, just to continue to keep the forearms, the joints, the chest stretch, the shoulders all healthy. I do tons of additional upper body stretching now to prevent other things from going wrong, because a lot of times the injury you get happens probably from something else that was tight or strained. So I'm guessing it was probably from like a tight shoulder that didn't get the full range of motion that made the bicep rip. Also, I'm holding mitts for full grown men throwing full speed punches. Is there times where someone throws it wrong and it clips it and it kind of, you feel a little tweak in there? Yeah, but that's pretty normal. That happens on the good side also, but I might feel a little extra on the injured side when it's a weird like yank where they don't hit the mitt the right way. But I'm doing full speed at events that we're running. I'm running all day events where I'm physically active and able to hold the mitts. Pull-ups are pretty much back to normal. I'll get sets, maybe not back, I'm not getting sets of 20 yet, but that's just a muscle and conditioning thing. It has nothing to do with the bicep. That's just me not focusing on pull-ups, but I'm getting sets 15, 16. I'll get sets in a row of 10 on when it's more about getting in full sets back to back. I'm doing heavy back exercises on the cable machines and stuff, as much weight as I was ever doing, possibly even more, because now the grip strength is a little stronger. And when I'm doing it, for the most part, I'm not noticing any extra strain. One concern I have is putting extra strain on the uninjured side from carrying the load. So I'm very conscious about keeping it even and not letting myself favor the uninjured side, because I don't want that one to now get overloaded or taxed and yanked on. There are days where the uninjured side will feel a little more on two-handed exercise. So that tells me that I'm probably shifting that weight to drop. So I've got to be conscious of that and not let it, and stay straight and strong. As you can see, look at there's just that space in there, but I'm able to flex and squeeze this muscle, you can see the difference, like that 2-inch space where there's no longer a freaking tendon. I'm doing heavy back exercises, sled pushes. I could hold and grip onto the sled. For me, I do a sled push where I keep my arms extended. It just lasts longer, so I'm able to grip the bars on the sled and push it forward. Same distance, no difference. The only time the legs go before the arms, so it's not like that's holding me back from doing the crazy conditioning work. Farmer's walk, no problem. Doing heavy farmer's walk with fat grips, with cannonballs, all this other kind of stuff. Possibly even stronger. Are there times, there's certain days maybe where it's fatigued from other, maybe a back day or back exercise, and then another day I'm doing some heavy farmer's walk for a long time, and you start feeling it pulling and stretching, but that's just an overuse thing. And I might feel a little bit in there, but nothing that I'm not just smart about, and not letting it get overdone. And again, I'm still doing the exercise, kind of rehab, flexibility, stretching, mobility, exercise. I've added in a lot more upper body stretching. I've focused on lower body stretching so much over the years and probably neglected the upper body. I would do upper body, but real basic. Not as much and dedicated and disciplined as the lower body. So I've added a ton more of that to first help this heal, help the range of motion get in there, but also prevent other parts of the upper body from having problems, having injuries. And it really just took daily discipline in the stretching, in the other, because again, the other type muscles are usually causing the injury somewhere else. And when I say shoulder, probably actually comes from the neck. Neck injuries I've had from grappling and jiu-jitsu from a decade and a half ago, probably 2 decades ago almost now at this point. A neck injury, like neck strains and tweaks, and injury to the collarbone, which led to tight shoulders, which probably led to then 10 years later, finally affecting little by little and causing this muscle to tear. And so I've also then I've gone to the chiropractor a couple times, I've gone to massages, I've gone to stretch classes. So I've been taking my overall health. It really was an eye-opener to take my overall health more serious. And I train my ass off all the time, my strength, cardio, conditioning, decent amount of stretching. I eat fairly healthy all the time, but this is really an eye-opener to start doing even more on the regeneration side of things. Meaning now I went to a stretch class. It was a one-on-one stretch session where they actually stretch you out and dig in the tight muscles. It was freaking awesome. It was probably better than a massage. So my goal going forward, and shit gets expensive, so you do it according to what you can handle. But in a perfect world, I would go get a massage once a week. I'd go to a chiropractor once a week. I'd go to a physical therapist once a week, and I'd do a stretch session once a week. Usually I don't have the time or don't want to even really pay for all that in a single week. But if I could do all those things in a month, so maybe one of those things a week, so they're hitting it once a month, like boom, that's probably the protocol I'm going to start following from here. Like 1 week I'll do a chiropractor, next week a massage, next week the stretch session, next week a physical therapy, and rotate those 4 so I can continue to improve and get better. Of course, nutrition and discipline and hydration and sleep and stretching and mobility, all the recovery and regeneration are part of the healing process, part of the regenerating, part of getting back to where you were, and really even stronger. I think my grip strength is probably the strongest it's ever been, even with this. Recently there was a flat tire. We had to change a tire, and then even harder than changing a tire and unscrewing it, the internet says you're going to lose 40% of your rotational, whatever, pronation, supination, whatever, and you're not going to be able to turn a doorknob and screw a screwdriver. I'll tell you what, I'm not having any trouble turning a freaking doorknob or a screwdriver or even torquing a tire. Also, what was even harder than changing a tire is plugging a tire. When you have to jam that little rod in for the tire, and then you put that little rubber plug in there and you have to pull it out. Did it no problem. Felt strong as hell doing it, creating the hole, plugging it up, ripping the thing out, twisting it, digging it, getting in there, maneuvering it. And I'm using this, what would be called the weak arm, which is my dominant arm, the injured arm, but it's still the smart arm. You have a smart arm and a dumb arm. I'm a righty, that's my dominant arm. That's the one I was using for screwing. I didn't see any difference. They tell you that you're going to lose 40% of your bicep strength and pronation strength. That is case by case. That's just like their guidelines. I have zero of that, but probably because of all these other things we're talking about and all the things we're talking about in these previous videos, and also taking care of yourself before for decades. That leads you to be able to work around an injury. Again, positive work, or positive attitude, hard work. And in this time, since the injury, in 10 months, I've run dozens, literally dozens of full day, even weekend long, like 2 to 3 day events of the No Excuses Experience, which is a men's in-person event that I run right here in Southern California. The Squire program, which is a father-son program, I run all around the country. Operation Black Site, which is also here in Southern California. That's more tactical shooting and self-defense. Masogi, which is a one-day challenge. And then, of course, my own training sessions. I do workout events here where I do fundraiser workout events. Haven't missed any of these. I've been in the trenches getting this stuff done for the last 10 months. Haven't missed a single event. And still haven't taken a single day off of training since the last video, and even in the last several years now. Through the injury, through other tweaks and injuries, I've got other things going on that I'm working on that are problematic in my body, but working around those just like working around this. So I get some funny comments. I get tons of people asking me about, like, what was is the muscle forming back, or what's my grip strength like, or what's my max curl? I don't know my max curl. I've never known my max curl. I don't care what my max curl is, because a curling exercise is all about just literally getting a pump. It's really not even really building the muscle in there. You're gonna get much more work in your biceps, your grip, your forearms, your back, doing pull-ups, inverted rows, TRX rows, actual lat pull downs and cable row machines. Much more effective. You're going to get much more work. Those biceps, I'll throw them in now and then, here and there in our routine, just to get a little pump, just to look in the mirror and feel good. That's about it. Your max curl does not matter. I don't know. I'm assuming my max curl is down. Don't know. Don't care. I do it more for functionality, for rotation, for forearm strength, for grip strength. That's about all I'm doing any curls for. So someone told me, one of the comments, you won't be able to curl. And he said, what's your max curl? How much can you curl? That I won't be able to curl. And my max curls, I don't really care about that. That's a myth in the fitness industry. Curls, I went one time, probably a good decade, without doing a single bicep curl. My biceps were bigger and stronger than ever. So bicep curls are not necessarily needed. And that's also a good way to strain or restrain the arm, because it's an ego lift. It's an ego exercise, bicep curl. So you see on like a preacher curl or the swings and the range of motion, that's a good way to tear shit or injure something there. I've seen people injure their lower back from doing bicep curls because they swing their damn hips into it so much. Another person told me that I made a demented choice to be non-anatomical the rest of my life, that my no excuses philosophy falls short when you're disregarding physical failure. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but he called me demented. I've been called worse. I'm not that worried about it. Look at it. It's coming out pretty fine. That's an injured, torn bicep arm. That's pretty freaking tight and solid in the forearm and in the tricep. And until I tell someone and point it out, it's really hard to tell. It just looks like I have a skinnier, weaker arm than the non-dominant arm. I don't see much demented about it. Everything I just mentioned kind of validates my personal choice to not have surgery. Now, I had a 66-year-old just comment today, like these series of videos have been our most commented and most viewed long-form videos. But if you like these videos, you should go check out the Steve Eckert Show, which we dive deep into the mindset that I used to overcome this injury and keep working and keep training, the mindset of a husband, a father, a man, and a leader. Go check out the Steve Eckert Show, our other long videos, and check out our shorts. That's where we get most of our followers from and views from. We have hundreds of millions of views on our shorts, which shows our training and our tactical stuff we do, and shooting and fighting and grappling and boxing and all kinds of stuff like that, going through kill houses, which I was able to do through these last 10 months and shoot tons of content without the surgery, without any steroids, without any peptides or whatever else. Then I got another message just today from an 18-year-old that told me he just tore his bicep. I'm not sure how he did it. I sent him a message. I'm like, that's pretty rare for someone that young. This is like an old man injury, like 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. It just wears down after decades of use, and eventually it's just like boom, and it just pops from doing some stupid shit for decades. But an 18-year-old is pretty rare. I'm assuming his is going to be to go the surgery route. You're that young, you have plenty of time to rebuild it, reform it, and be anatomically correct and not demented for the rest of your life. So I'm assuming that would probably be the best choice for him. But again, he's going to go to his doctor, he's going to find out. I'm guessing surgery is going to be the option for him. But for me, happened when I was 46 or 47, whatever it was. It was not the best option for me personally, and I still stand by that. And so is surgery the route for everyone? Absolutely not. is not the route for everyone. And no, it's not the best option for most. Probably not. But it's up to you to make an informed, educated decision on what's going to be best for you at that point in your life, depending on what you have going on. What's your downtime going to look like? Are you worried? Is it only going to affect your looks? Like I was literally told, only thing it's going to affect in my future is the aesthetical look. That look, now I have a demented bicep, which is probably better than most people's bicep in general. I stay under 10% body fat for the last 20 years, so I'm not that worried if my bicep looks a little weird on this side. Although I did spend decades building these muscles, and now it's all deformed. But I can live with that because I'm not mentally weak, and you want to know how to be not mentally weak like that and have mental toughness, go check out the Steve Eckert Show, the other long form videos. So I'm not advocating for surgery or not having surgery. I'm just literally just taking you along on my journey, my process of not having surgery. This is what, for me personally, worked for me, opting out of surgery based on research and decisions and talking with my surgeon. And that's a decision we came up with and the game plan we came up with. And I 100% am glad I went that route for everything I just talked about in this video and the 3 previous videos. So if you have any questions on this, you want any more, a little more, I wouldn't say advice, but a little more about what my experience was like with this recovery process and rebuilding and not having surgery, send me a message, put a comment down below. And if you tore yours, I want to hear about your journey, your recovery. What was your decision? Why did you make your decision? And what's your progress been like? How far along are you? How did it happen? I want to hear about all that because I've gotten so deep into this whole distal tearing of the bicep thing. Because you know, when something happens to us, we go deep and dark in it. So share in the comments below, what is your experience like and what's your progress like? I want to hear about, let's talk about it because that information can help other people that are searching for the same thing, because we get tons of people literally type into YouTube, torn distal bicep, or how to recover from torn distal bicep, or torn distal bicep without surgery, for surgery, recovery period. They want to know, put the comments down below if you're helping just one person make a better informed, educated decision based on your experience. Put it down below. I want to hear about it. So put those comments down below. I want to hear about your experience. And I may do another follow-up video on this. I don't know if I need to because I'm healed. I'm recovered. I'm healed. I'm demented, but I'm healed. And I knew I was demented long before this injury happened. So that person didn't tell me anything I didn't know, and I've been told much worse. But anyway, I will see you on the next videos here on the Steve Eckert Show podcast. We also have a series called Would You Rather, where we ask people of all different walks of life, different questions about life. What would they choose in different scenarios? Go check those out. If you're into this kind of stuff and into this mindset kind of stuff, you're going to love both of those series. Make sure you check them out. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. I will see you next time. And in case no one told you yet today, you are freaking awesome. No excuses.